10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, my friends, and thank you so much for coming to hang out with me on this Thursday, March 14th, 2024. I'm sorry that I'm late for you. I'm usually not late, and you know that because that is one of my pet peeves, being late. But I was just talking into a closet for 5 minutes because I forgot to hit the go live button, which is very fitting because I have with me a friend of mine tonight who's a producer, and I'll bring him in a few minutes. But that was really funny because I was literally talking for 5 minutes to no one before I realized that I did not hit the go live button. So here we are tonight. And I don't know how many of you have heard about this story, but it is a tragic story. It is every parent's worst nightmare. And this is the case of Riley Strain. Riley is a 22-year-old Mizzou student who was traveling last weekend to Nashville with about 50 of his fraternity brothers. And on Friday night, they were downtown Nashville bar hopping, as college students often do. And at about 9:40 p.m., he was thrown out of Luke Bryan's bar, which is on Broadway in Nashville. He told his fraternity brothers that he was going to go back to the hotel, but he never arrived back at the hotel. And they are still looking for him. And it is so important for us to get the word out. And I know how good you guys are at getting the word out and spreading pictures. And this is not out there on local news channels in New York, I'll tell you that much. And I know you guys watch a lot of YouTube, and you may not have even seen it yet unless you're from the Nashville area. And today is day 6. Is day 6 of the search for Riley Strain, and it is still a search mission. It is not turned into a recovery mission. Detectives of the Metro Nashville PD have been searching on foot, by boat, drone, helicopter, sonar. They are bringing in all of the resources to look for Riley. What I want to talk about today and what I want to focus on today is finding Riley. I don't want this show to turn into a blame game. And I know that you guys won't do that because we keep it classy here, and my moderator is going to keep it classy here. So let's talk about Riley Strain. Here's his picture. This is actually the shirt that he was wearing the night that he went missing in downtown Nashville after leaving Luke Bryan's bar. He was thrown out of the bar around 9:40. His phone went dead around 10 p.m. I'm going to show you some surveillance footage that we have of Riley stumbling. Police are still looking for any and all tips, any footage, any dash cam footage, surveillance footage, and anybody who knows anything about where Riley may be, where he went after Luke Bryan's bar. And let's get the word out. I'm going to keep the number on the bottom of the screen. If anybody has any information on the whereabouts of Riley Strain or has any information that could help in this investigation, police have said they have been flooded with tips, so that's a good thing. The phone number of Nashville Metro PD is 615-862-8600. He is 6'5", between 6'5" and 6'7". I've seen conflicting reports on that. Slim build, about 160 to 165 pounds. He has light brown to blonde hair and blue eyes. So let's get the word out and let's help find Riley. This story is not as out there as it should be. And I know that you guys are good at this because this is what you do, my armchair detectives. Luke Bryan is the country singer. Yes, Stephanie, he is. He totally is. So we're going to take a look at some footage. We're going to look at the press conference that Metro PD had earlier in Nashville, and we're going to talk about the investigation, and we're going to hope to share this out, and we're going to hope for a good ending, happy ending to this story. But before we do that, I would like to introduce you to my friend Jeremy, my old friend Jeremy, who is a real, actual Hollywood producer who I've invited to come on the show, and he's going to help me out backstage and help me out with some of my technical difficulties tonight. Say hi to Jeremy.
Hey, everybody. Nice to be. Obviously, we want to find Riley. First, that's what I want to say. Let's help find him.
Yeah, let's find them. And these guys can do it. They're on it. I'm telling you, my audience is on it. And I know that I told you when I invited you to come on the show with me for like a test run that we were going to do something funny and comedic. And then this broke. And I said, we have to do this. I'm really sorry, but we'll do a funny show next time.
There you go.
So tell everybody who's watching a little bit about yourself. If you want to do a quick intro, and then we'll get into the story.
Sure. My name's Jeremy Lewis. I've been producing various television shows in Hollywood for many years. And my side gig, though, is what I'm most proud of. And that is of author. And I'm the author of a book called The Beatles in Los Angeles. And I'm really digging this format, Melanie, what you've set up here and this incredible YouTube channel. And, you're on the wave of the future here. This is fantastic.
Well, if nobody's going to give me my own show, I'm just going to make my own show. I decided. So
there you go. And that's what this is perfect for. And it's great that everybody is joining. And I'm looking at all the chats here and just want everybody to know too, I'm monitoring all the latest Twitter on this story too, just to see what people are talking about out there and the latest updates. And if anything comes in about, new clues or his whereabouts or anything, we'll be sure to let everybody know. We
will be on it. So I think in song lyrics, and you probably think in song lyrics too, to the point where you even wrote a book about the Beatles. So maybe we'll drop that link in this video description below. All right, so I'm going to get to some footage now. If you see anything cool, just, star it for me and put it in the column. And guys, put your questions out there. And let's not try to place any blame. Let's look at some of the footage and some of the local stations, because, I like to go to local stations for the footage, because I find that their news crews take it very seriously. So this is coming to you from Channel 5 in Nashville. And this is from Tuesday. This is going to give you a little bit of background on the story.
Tonight, a desperate search continues for a college student visiting Nashville over the weekend who just disappeared. No one has seen or heard from Riley Strain for 4 days now. Hi, everyone. I'm Rory Johnston. We've been in constant communication with Metro Police as they work to find the 22-year-old. News Channel 5's Hunter Hoagland talked with Riley's family. This as new clues might help investigators narrow the search.
Yeah, I'm standing in the spot where Riley Strain was last seen. He was picked up on surveillance video walking across this crosswalk Friday night. And what made it so hard for me to watch was that you could tell he was headed directly towards the Cumberland River. We so badly want Riley to be found, which is why we are showing you these two new pieces of video here tonight. Take a look. That's Riley Strain there in the two-tone shirt crossing First Avenue onto Gay Street. It was
Okay, so if you're familiar with downtown Nashville, this is First Avenue here to the right of the screen. Crossing First Avenue to Gay Street.
Captured Friday night at 9:47, just 6 minutes before his phone went silent.
We talk every day, multiple times a day. And this is
I just want to trigger warn you on this. I forgot. I'm sorry. Somebody can put up a trigger warning. This is his mom talking to the media, and it is heart-wrenching. It is heart-wrenching. I know how many of you in the chat are parents, and this is every parent's worst nightmare, and it's heart-wrenching to listen to.
the longest I've ever gone without talking to him. It's devastating. I just want to find him and hug him.
We know from his parents and police that Riley was drinking with friends at Luke Bryan's bar on Broadway when he was kicked out. His parents tell me he was in town with 50 of his fraternity brothers from Mizzou. Not one of them left the bar with Riley to make sure he was okay.
I'm not gonna lie, it's a little hard to know that somebody didn't go with or, whatever.
We obtained exclusive video showing the moments after he left the bar. Security cameras picked up the 22-year-old on Church Street before crossing First Avenue. He appears to be stumbling down the sidewalk as he heads into this camera here, just yards away from the Cumberland River. Police sent search crews into the water Tuesday, trying to find any sign of the missing senior from Mizzou.
Okay, so I don't know if they didn't start searching the water until Tuesday, but I can tell you that his friends didn't call 911 until about 16 hours after he went missing, which put it at Saturday. I'm not sure if they started searching the water on Tuesday. I'm pretty sure they started searching the water before then.
But with 4 nights of no answers, his family is just hoping he's alive.
Please help. If anybody knows anything, please just call the police. Please.
Anything.
Anything, even if it's small. Please just call the police.
A tough interview to listen to there. Friends and family are holding a prayer vigil tomorrow in Springfield, Missouri, praying that Riley is found. We want that too. If you have any information or videos showing where Riley went, you're asked to call police. In Nashville tonight, I'm Hunter Hoagland. Rory, back to you.
Thank you, Hunter. Again.
Just a heartbreaking story. As a parent, this breaks my heart. I'm sure that it breaks your hearts as well. I'm going to put the phone number up again for you to call if you have any information. If you have any children who go to college in Nashville, if you have friends in Nashville, if you know anybody who lives in Nashville, Metro Nashville PD is asking that you call 615-862-8600 with any information. They're also hoping that they can find some Apple Watch data that's also going to help them perhaps find his last location. And News Nation covered that yesterday. Let's take a look at that footage.
Surveillance video shows what is believed to be one of the last times a missing Missouri college student was seen. Riley Strain was last seen leaving a bar in Nashville Friday night. The 22-year-old was there for a fraternity conference, but was kicked out of a bar for being overserved. He told friends he was going back to the hotel, but a ping on his phone shows he went in the opposite direction. And now his family is hoping his phone and Apple Watch specifically might hold some clues. Correspondent Alex Capriello is following this story, joins us live. Alex, when are those digital records expected to be released?
Yeah, I just got off the phone with Nashville police, and detectives there have applied for a search warrant where they can actually get access to Strain's digital footprint, things like cell phone data, Apple Watch information, and banking statements. They say detectives should have access to those details by at least later this afternoon. But in the meantime, they are closely studying everything they have up to this point, like this new surveillance video showing Strain just moments after his fraternity brothers last saw him. You can see Strain stumbling through downtown Nashville, disoriented and confused. At one point, he briefly turns around. You could see it right there before continuing on his way the opposite direction of the hotel he told his frat brothers he was actually going to. And we also now have the frantic 911 call his friend made the next morning, reporting him first as missing.
Who is it that you're wanting to report as missing? We're here on a fraternity formal trip. It's one of my good buddies. And what was he last seen wearing? Outside of Luke Bryan's bar last night at like 10, and then the last time his location on his phone was by the sheriff's office at like 11 p.m.
The police tell me that the operations of emergency management have boats in the water of the Cumberland River today, searching the banks up and down. They joined the private investigative team that Strain's family have hired, which is also scanning that waterway. Strain's family distraught over their son's mysterious disappearance. Speaking to Morning in America's Marky Martin, his mom says he actually FaceTimed with her about an hour before he was kicked out of the bar.
You talk multiple times a day. I mean, did anything sound out of the ordinary, or any red flags that you picked up on? Plans in the evening that he shared with you?
Nothing.
Nothing. He was sending me texts after we FaceTimed. Mom, I love you. Have a good night. And sending me pictures from the different bars that they were going to show me that he was
They were having a good time.
While we wait for additional details, the family is asking for anyone with information to come forward and speak to the Nashville police. Riley Strain is tall. He's 6'7" with blonde hair, blue eyes, last seen wearing boots, jeans, and a two-tone shirt.
Yeah, we certainly hope he is found safe. All right, Alex, thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com.
Heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Somebody said, and I agree, that I think there is some information that somebody wanted to leave with him, but they were told they had to take care of the tab before they could. And then maybe once they went outside, that they didn't. Jeremy, I know that you have hung out in downtown Nashville. I'm not familiar with the city at all, but I'm sure that it's probably bustling on a Friday night down there.
Yeah, you know, it is bustling on a Friday night, but I have to give Nashville credit as a city. I produced the draft there a few years back, working with the NFL, and they really try to keep things safe, especially around the river. I mean, I've seen a lot of chatter on Twitter, a lot of chatter about, you know, he's in the river, he's in the river. You saw in that news report that they are searching the river, but I have to tell you, it's not, you know, there are fences, there are barriers. It's not like you can just stumble into that river easily. I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm just saying that, you know, that shouldn't be the go-to conclusion here, especially if we're trying to figure out, you know, where Riley is and whatnot. We shouldn't assume that he's in the river.
Right. I'm thinking that too. And also, you know, it was a little before 10 p.m. It's not like this was at 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what time the bars close in downtown Nashville, but I'm assuming it's at least midnight, if not later. So there's still a lot of people around, right?
It's later and it's bustling. I mean, like you said, on a Friday night, there's a lot of people on the streets and even by the river. Someone must have seen something. And, you know, I would not assume that it went that way. It went, you know, that the mystery is in the river.
Yeah, but it's a good thing that they are searching the river. Zen It Forward says, yeah, it's possible, but it's not open access, right? So it's not just like you can just walk down to the river and stick your toes in, right? I mean, it's barricaded for the most part.
Exactly, and I think it's important for, you know, everybody on this chat to understand that, just to give context to the story.
If we have anybody in the chat from Nashville, please let us know. But I think at this point, this is a good place to break to hear a word from our sponsor. So I'm just going to put on the word from our sponsor, which is me talking about our sponsor. So, did you know that the odds of falling victim to online... Hold on. I can do that again. See, Jeremy, this is why I need a producer. How do I put that back on and then get rid of myself? And then, okay. Wait. Rewind it. In 4 online. I'm going to take it back because Aura will want me to do that. Did you know that the odds of falling victim to online crime are 1 in 4? Online crime is soaring. It's time to get smart about online safety. That's why I've been using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura provides everything you need to protect your privacy, identity, finances, and your family in one easy-to-use app. Do you even realize how much of your personal information is already out there, being sold by data brokers to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who may want to target you? Well, if you Google yourself, you may find something like this. And it may shock you to know that your full name, home address, email address, health records, and even relatives, it's all out there. That's one of the reasons you need Aura. Aura shows you which data brokers are selling your information and automatically submits opt-out requests on your behalf. Not only does cleaning up this information reduce the amount of spam that you get, but it will protect you from hackers who could use the information to help them access your social media accounts, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. Aura also helps protect me and my family from online threats by providing antivirus and malware protection, a secure VPN with military-grade encryption, credit monitoring, spam call protection, parental controls, password management, identity theft insurance, and more, without having to download several different apps. It's really easy to set up. And best of all, I get everything at one affordable price. With the family plan, Aura will help you protect your kids by blocking harmful content, managing how much time they can spend online, and providing you with peace of mind while they game with cyberbullying and online predator threat alerts. I value my privacy and my online safety, and I value yours too. So go to aura.com/Melanie Little to start your 2-week free trial, because you can't put a price on peace of mind. I've also put the link in the video description below. You can thank me later. Okay, so I've linked it below, so go and get your free trial of Aura. It would really help the channel. Thank you so much. And also, when you do click on the link, that is my personal link. So when it says, how are you referred here? And you click on YouTube, and then there's a drop-down menu of channels. My channel won't be in there, but it's my link. So don't worry, just skip past that. I still get the credit for it. If we could refrain from breaking news in the chat, I was wondering why we have less than 200 people in here today, but there's a lot of stuff going on. And apparently, spoiler alert, James Crumbly was just found guilty. So if, you guys want to break that news in the chat, I'm just going to tell you, big surprise, James Crumbly was found guilty. His wife, Jennifer, was already found guilty. So I don't think any of us are surprised about that. But what we need to really focus on right now is finding Riley and helping in the search with Riley. And there are actually people who live in town who are down there by the river trying to help the search. Mama Griffith says, I'm a Nashvilleian, born and raised. What's scary is how he fell and hit his head. On each camera, he looked drugged or drunk. I pray no one took advantage of him being inebriated. Yeah. And Colleen, who's also from Nashville, I'm a native and current Nashvilleian. It would be very hard to accidentally fall into the river. The bank's high and there's no easy pedestrian access. Lots of rocks and trees would have to be foul play. And that's interesting because we're going to look at the press conference from the chief of police, or actually he's the head of the cold case unit. And he said he doesn't believe there was any foul play. So that's interesting, Colleen, since you are boots on the ground in Nashville. Somebody said he does look drugged. Yeah, I don't know. Let's take a look at some more footage and see what else we can see. Here's a video from a local station who is asking, the family is asking for any rideshare drivers to share their dash cam footage with authorities. This is Channel 2 in Nashville.
Family friends of Riley Strain are asking Uber and Lyft to get involved.
They hope that dash cam video will help build a better timeline. As News 2's Kendall Ashman reports, they are overwhelmed with potential leads.
These surveillance video clips have been shared countless times. It's the last time Riley Strain was seen walking from downtown Nashville after he was reportedly kicked out of the Luke Bryan's bar on Friday.
Riley is like one of our sons. If you're a parent, you know you have extra kids in every household, and Riley was one of ours that grew up with my boy.
Chris Dingman says his son grew up.
I don't like how he's using past tense. Did anybody notice that? Riley was like one of ours. This video was just posted yesterday. Let's hope that Riley can be found alive. I just noticed that and it kind of bothered me.
Up with Riley in Springfield, Missouri. This is their most recent picture together.
Boggles my mind that we still can't find Riley with all of our technology.
Chris is one of many who have put together a timeline from when Riley was last seen. Here, he is seen crossing First Avenue North to Gay Street along the Cumberland River.
Primary search has been between the hours of 9 and 11 p.m. On Friday evening.
But now Dingman wants to expand the search window to 24 hours after Riley was last seen, as the family has been overwhelmed with potential leads.
Fortunately, we're going to have 1,000 leads. 2 of them will lead us in the right direction, and there will be a bunch of stuff in there that you're not prepared to handle.
Dingman is now calling on anyone who owns a dash or surveillance camera to look back onto Friday evening.
We're just trying to find outlets to reach out to anybody that could have possibly had a dash cam, commercial, Uber, Lyft.
He says anything could help answer where Riley went next.
We're literally just trying to get crumbs and put the puzzle together. But there's definitely way more to the story. We want to find Riley first and then put the story together.
In Nashville, Kendall Ashman, News 2.
And News 2 will have continuing coverage of the efforts to locate Riley.
It's been 48 hours.
Okay, this next piece by News Nation, I think, is going to show the video where he runs into a pole and he falls on the ground. And there's some reports that say he was on the ground for 10 seconds. So this is hard to watch. I'm going to warn you ahead of time, but it could be a big clue. And this is why a lot of people in the chat are saying that he looked like he was drugged or drunk. I don't know if he was roofied. I don't know if he was apparently he was overserved. That's what the story is. But let's see if we can watch that video and sort of dissect it together.
It's been 48 hours since you and I last talked. Any updates from the investigation you're able to share with us?
This is the family.
Still pretty few. I mean, not quite moving as fast as what we'd hoped. We still don't have the watch data. We do know from our meeting yesterday that they have seen the footage inside and outside of Luke Bryant's bar now, which made us feel a little better. Ryan can tell you exactly the footage we're needing now. We're still trying to get camera footage off of buildings that are where we have the last known video of it.
Yeah.
So we need that kind of help immediately.
Let's talk about some of that footage. You know, we got our hands on that footage, I mean, just hours after we talked to you a couple days ago, showing Riley walking downtown.
Okay, did you see that? I'm going to take it back a couple seconds because if you watch, you can see him run right into this pole.
Showing Riley walking downtown. You know, there's one part in the video after we talked to you a couple days ago, showing Riley walking downtown. You know, there's one part in the video where he stumbles. I'm sure you've watched all of this by now. Yeah, there he is right here highlighted. What do you make of this video? And did you or police pick up on anything else that was odd from any of this surveillance?
Yeah, the first two videos in the timeline are extremely odd to us. We're really wondering why somebody didn't help, why somebody didn't call the police.
Side note, when I watched this video earlier, I don't know why that bubble is coming out from the mom's head with the thumbs up. I don't know how that happened. It's not on my end. This is on News Nation's end. I'm kind of like, it's kind of weird they didn't edit that out, but it has nothing to do with me. This is News Nation's final edit, I guess.
Make a 911 call saying, hey, there's a student or an individual that is in need, you know. We need everybody's help.
Yeah.
If you've seen him, please help us.
Yeah.
Please call.
Speaking, you know, to just go off that point you just made, my own mother is now following this story intently. I mean, she wants to know what has happened to your son. My mom was also wondering, do you want that bar to be liable? We know that Riley was asked to leave because he had been overserved. I mean, do you want that bar to be held responsible at all for not making sure that Riley, I don't know, got in an Uber or was in the right hands once he left their premises?
All right, I'm going to interject here to say that I think it's a little bit premature to ask that question. I think it's insensitive. Do you want the bar to be held responsible? This is still a search mission. This is not a recovery. This is still a search. They're still hoping to find him alive. So to ask the parents whether they want the bar to be held responsible for what? Let's just focus on trying to find him right now. I don't like this, but I'm going to let you hear it anyway. Because, you know, I speak my mind here.
I feel like there needs to be some accountability put somewhere. This stuff shouldn't be going on, putting people out if they're in that kind of condition. There needs to be some accountability. But right now we're staying focused on the direction we need to go with the investigation. We feel like time is very critical at this point, and there's camera footage that needs to be reviewed that seems to be going slower than what we want it to go. We're in several days and we're not getting answers about where his last known location was.
Michelle, you know, at one point you see Riley in one of these videos, you see Riley stopping, almost unsure of where to go. Reports say Riley told his friends he was walking back to the hotel. Based on what you've seen from that footage, was he even going in the right direction back to where they were staying?
He is not. It looks like he's turned around and confused as to where he is. I mean, he's in a strange town. It's hard for a mom to see, and it's hard for me to see all these people around him and not helping him.
Any idea if he hopped in an Uber? Have you checked his Uber history? Is he the type of young man to get in a car with somebody he didn't know?
There's not anything to indicate that he grabbed an Uber. It wouldn't be like him to jump in a car with anybody else. But it's not like him to go in the direction of the area that he was last seen either. So there's still a lot of questions that we're very trying to be patient, waiting on answers on.
Absolutely. I also know we mentioned that candlelight vigil was held for Riley last night. How has the outpouring of support helped you through this process as a family?
I feel like it's what's getting us through. We have a lot of people, we feel everybody's prayers. Please continue. Please continue to share his story.
It really has been amazing, the outpouring that we've received, not only from our hometown community, but from people all over the United States. It's mind-blowing what we're seeing, what we're hearing from people, what they're offering to do to help us.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to.
So there's that footage. Jeremy, why don't you come back on and we'll talk about what we think about this. I mean, you know, it looks to me like he ran into that pole. Some people in the chat were saying he didn't start stumbling until after that smack into the pole. Maybe he had a head injury or something.
He may have, you know, obviously that was not a soft hit, but the one question that the journalist did ask that was actually productive was about the hotel. And that was sort of what was on my mind too, because you did hear earlier that the fraternity brother did say, you know, that he had heard that he was headed back to the hotel after being kicked out of the bar. I don't know what hotel he was staying at. I'd be curious. You know, and to sort of piece together, if obviously in that one clip, he was not going in the right direction, but in the area where he hit the pole, was he going in the right direction? You know, I think you've got enough evidence and clues there to follow the path that he was on, especially given all the street cameras and security that is on the Nashville streets. I would like more context of that.
Well, I have it for you. I
Yeah.
have it for you. Did
Okay,
you know
great.
that I have 2 videos queued up that are going to trace his last steps? So
No, I didn't know that.
I
That's
know, and you're my
fantastic.
producer, and you're just, you know, you're just here for the ride. But you do also have reporting experience, so you know what it's like to be an on-camera reporter working for a major show or a major channel, and you know how important it is, right, to get the good sound bites and stuff. So,
yep.
I mean, should we cut her a little slack for asking those questions, or do I go straight to like that's so
I mean,
insensitive?
that could be a whole nother show. I think you were right. Some of
Yeah.
the questions were not at the right time. Excuse my phone ringing.
Who still has a landline? You're the last person that I know that has a landline. So
we have earthquakes here in Los Angeles. It's the only thing that remains.
You're on the other coast. All right, let's take you off screen for a second while I put this video
Yes.
back on. And I think there's a kid who wants to see you. Let's take a look up some local coverage. They also have put billboards up, so that's a great thing for the case. So let me come back here and share this with you. This is from WKRN News 2 in Nashville, and they're going to retrace Riley's steps.
This morning, billboards are now up in Nashville, spreading the word about missing college student Riley Strain. This one is located off I-24 near Trinity Lane, alerting drivers about the case. Now, Riley's family remains in Nashville this morning, hopeful to find any clues about where he went after he disappeared from downtown Nashville last Friday night. Blake Easton spent the morning retracing Riley Strain's known steps. He's joining us live now with an update on the case and the search. Blake.
Hey, good morning to you, Nikel. It is certainly an all-hands-on-deck effort right now. We're talking billboards on the highway, boats in the water behind us, and you can actually hear Metro Police's helicopter actually flying above us right now, scanning alongside the river, trying to find any possible clues to learn what happened to that college senior. And as you mentioned, this morning we had a chance to go location by location and retrace the steps that Riley could have possibly walked before he went missing in downtown Nashville. The mysterious disappearance of 22-year-old Riley Strain began on Friday when he was reportedly kicked out of this bar right here. This is Luke Bryan's Broadway bar. It sits at the corner of Broadway and 3rd. Now, the next possible sighting that we saw of Strain was just a few blocks from here on Church Street, which would suggest the most likely route he could have possibly taken was simply walking this way of 3rd Avenue. The next time we would see Riley would be from this surveillance video here at the Smoke and Vape Shop on Church Street. Now, this sits in between 2nd Avenue and 3rd Avenue. If you remember from that video, we would see Riley walk right down this sidewalk, trip over something, get back up before continuing down Church Street, making his way closer to the river. The next time we'd see Riley was crossing the crosswalk here at 1st Avenue from Church Street, walking on to North Gay Street. Now, if you see here, there's certainly a curve that he would have had to pass by, which goes along with what his parents told us was the last time his phone ping was a few hundred yards north of here on Gay Street at the James Robertson Parkway Bridge. And so, Nikel, to refresh your memory, this is surveillance video that we saw there on 1st Avenue where he was crossing to Church Street, making his way towards North Gay Street. This was sent out from Metro Police. It was on Friday night around 10 o'clock or so. And that's the last that we have seen of Riley on surveillance video as of now. And so, as you can imagine, it continues to be an all-hands-on-deck effort. I mentioned the boats that we saw here in the Cumberland River. Metro Police's helicopter still flying above us, but also this is continuing to stretch miles, wanting to get any information that they possibly can. Coming up here on News 2, we'll introduce you to the company that's responsible for blasting this information across billboards all across the city, free of charge, just to hopefully get some sort of clue as to where Riley could be. Reporting live in Nashville, Blake Easton, News 2.
Continuing coverage. Okay, so here's a second station, a Fox Nashville, that did the same sort of story, but it's a little bit of a different take on it. And this is also from his last steps. That first video that I just showed you was from about 8 hours ago. This is from about 5 hours ago. So these are today, videos from today. Day 6 of the search for Riley Strain.
Coverage now on the search for Riley Strain. The University of Missouri college student walked out of a downtown bar on Friday night and has not been seen since.
Strain's family is in Nashville, desperately working to help police find him. Fox 17 News has confirmed the Tennessee Alcoholic Beverage Commission is now investigating if any bars overserved him.
And Fox 17 News' Kelly Aveline.
I don't know. I think like investigating that he was overserved. Okay, but let's try and find him. That's where the focus needs to be.
Has uncovered more security video Strain after he left Luke Bryan's honky tonk.
We're working to confirm Riley Strain's exact path that night. We know he left Luke Bryan's bar at about 9:40. I then found new surveillance video today that confirms he crossed the street here and made his way up 3rd Avenue.
His disappearance gripping the nation. Riley's father telling me his son got separated from his friends while getting kicked out of Luke Bryan's bar.
He was put out of the bar by himself, and there was a time that went by that his friend wasn't able to get out. We believe they were taking care of their bar tab or whatnot. By the time they got outside, he just wasn't there any longer.
Luke Bryan posting, "Y'all, this is scary," praying for his safe return. Luke's 32 Bridge Bar hasn't responded to our request to share their surveillance video of Riley with the public. They did give it to police, but Riley's family tells me they haven't seen it from detectives either.
They're not really telling us a lot. If they have more they're keeping it tight-lipped right now.
The Old Red Bar across from Luke Bryan's also confirming they have video of Riley crossing the street and are only sharing it with investigators. This security video from the Escape game room on 3rd Ave shows what appears to be Riley walking by. You can then see him running onto Church Street and then slamming into a pole in this parking lot. Another video then shows Riley stumbling up First Avenue towards Gay Street near the river, holding.
Yeah, so just a thought. It looks like he's really stumbling after that fall. I mean, if he was able to run, he was running, he wasn't falling over. It's just a thought. They're saying this video was after the video where he hit the pole. So now I'm curious about a TBI or some other kind of head injury.
His head. His phone last pinged near Public Square Park at 9:58, according to his family. They tell me detectives do have more video showing Riley near the James Robertson.
So Jeremy, I'm going to bring you back on here because here's exactly what you wanted to know. And here's the route that he took.
Yeah. So where is the hotel? That's
Well,
what we don't see there.
yeah, and I don't think anybody's really reported on what hotel they're staying at. So here's
Yeah.
like Luke Bryan's, then he's on the escape camera first, and then he falls on the video. So that's where he hits the pole. And
Yeah.
then it looks like everything after that is kind of where he starts to stumble.
Does anyone in the chat know anything about that bridge? I would like to know more about that bridge and how safe that bridge is, where the barriers are, those sorts of things.
Yeah, I think, you know what? I think if we take this back, we can see, or was it the other video that we just watched where he was kind of in front of the bridge? There was like some footage of the bridge behind him. We can go back to that other video. Let's see if she talks about where the hotel was in relation
So it says
to
the Tempo Hotel here in the chat from
Temple
Tattoo Gal.
Hotel.
The Tempo. So I'll look that up on the map. But
Thanks, Tattoo Gal. The Tempo Hotel.
yeah,
I
there
mean,
it is.
they've been reporting that the hotel was in the other direction. So yeah, if you want to
Yeah, I'll look that up. But
Google it.
interesting. The bridge, I think, could be a clue. He certainly was looked worse for wear after that head hit, for sure.
Yeah, and somebody says here they didn't find any blood on the pole where he hit. You don't need to have blood to have a really bad head injury. Think
It's like a
about like people who
or a
died,
concussion, even
skiing
just a
accidents.
concussion.
Right.
Concussion, yeah.
It could throw a clot. It could it's bad. There doesn't need to be blood to have a really bad head injury, unfortunately.
Courtney makes a point on the bridge here.
You have the power.
I'm working on it. New technology,
It's a new mode, right? It's a whole new mode of broadcasting here. This is the wave of the future, my friend. Independent media.
Yes.
Sometimes the chat moves really quickly. Colleen says, the bridge is safe to my knowledge. It would take foul play to fall off.
But somebody else mentioned, it may have been Courtney or someone named Courtney, that he is a tall guy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to unpack here for the investigators. They've got a lot of footage. They know where he was going. The river is protected. It would not take long to find somebody in that river. There's no definitive answer here by any means. There's a lot of possibilities. I've seen a lot of chat on Twitter where people were talking about other people his age that have disappeared recently. I don't know if I don't know if that's fact, but there is talk of foul play all over Twitter here.
Loaded
And,
Hot says he could have had a brain bleed and the alcohol thinning in his blood made it worse. Yeah, we can't, unfortunately, because I'm a lawyer, we can't spew the conspiracy theories, but I did see something about some kind of happy face killer or something, or like, I don't even know. Like, I can't even like talk about it because I don't, what happened. You get into like the Reddit threads and you could be spewing all kinds of stuff without facts.
Complete speculation for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that, if he did hurt his head and he ended up passing out, someone would find him. He doesn't just disappear. That's the strange part.
Yeah. But the other thing is that like, they're reporting now that somebody came out and said that they saw a homeless person wearing his shirt. So who knows?
Yeah.
Like, that's odd too. And I don't know that we can confirm that, but it has been reported in a couple of sources. So let's play the rest of this video.
Yeah.
Riley near the James Robertson Parkway Bridge, but then that's it. There's no trace of Riley after that.
There's not been any activity on his banking accounts.
Riley's parents tell me they believe he could have been drugged. Questions are also surfacing about what responsibility the bars may have in all this. The TABC tells Fox 17 News there are no specific laws governing businesses escorting out intoxicated patrons or giving them assistance in getting home. But it is against state law to serve alcohol to someone who is already visibly intoxicated. The TABC is investigating whether that happened to Riley.
And Riley's family tells me the United Cajun Navy is on standby, ready again to help search the river as soon as investigators give them a better idea of where exactly to search along the waterline at this point. I'm Kelly Avellino for Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Are you all ready?
Okay, there's the press conference. I'm going to show that in a minute. But let's go to the chat for a second because we have a lot of people here who are becoming new members. Thanks, you getting for becoming a new member. And Mystique became a new member. Welcome. Lax Mom 83 or Lacrosse Mom 83. Thank you so much. Loaded Hot is telling us that Luke Bryan's bar closes at 2 a.m. Right. So if his phone went dead and his friends said that's where his Snapchat last put him, because those of you who either have Snapchat or you have kids who have Snapchat, there's this thing called Snap Maps, which you can look at and it will tell you where all of your friends are. So the last Snap Map location of him was at that last location that we just looked at on the map. And then his phone either died or something happened to his phone, but his phone went dead. And it was around 10 p.m. So it was hopping down there. Somebody had to have seen something. Crossfolk says the street view doesn't look like it's an accessible bridge from that direction. Anybody live there that can confirm that for me? Pierce says this could be accident or foul play. Right. And we're going to watch and we're going to see what the sergeant from the cold case department thinks. Chloe's mom, a woman feeding the homeless, said one of the guys that came had a nice clean shirt looking just like Riley Strain's. She remembers it clearly because of how clean it was and the black patched pocket. Mike Judson says, why was he kicked out in the first place? Apparently he was overserved. That's what they're saying. That's what they're reporting. Jen in Georgia, I think maybe he had a head injury and possibly passed out behind a building or something.
So I have something from the Nashville Police Department. They have not found any clothing, wallet, or phone. So no trace, and they've been mostly searching along the bank of the Cumberland River today.
Okay. And when did that was Twitter? When did they post that?
That was about an hour ago.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Katie says, I never let my drink where I couldn't see it. If I needed to walk away, I'd either take it with me or buy a new one. I also watch the bartenders a lot too, because they've been known to lace the drinks. Yeah. Anybody who watches Law and Order or Law and Order SVU knows about that. Yeah, bartenders can be involved in that. And don't ever leave your drink unattended. And maybe we can learn something from this and teach our children to, even when you're 22 years old, maybe you still use the buddy system. This reminds me of the case that I covered on Jacqueline Elmquist, who was a young woman in New York City. She was, I think, 22 or 23 years old. She went to a work dinner. It was a Christmas party. She left there. Apparently, she was very, very intoxicated. Her friends put her in an Uber or something. She got out of the Uber. She was supposed to be going to Brooklyn, got out of the Uber about a few blocks later in Chelsea and wound up at the bottom of the garbage compactor in that Chelsea building. That was a doorman building. We still have no idea how she got in the building. And that was a story we covered a while ago, a couple of months ago, I think. So there are things to be learned, but right now we need to focus on finding Riley. So I'm going to take us to the press conference and we're going to hear what they talked about. It took me a while to find one with decent audio for you. And when they start asking questions, as I do, I'm going to repeat the questions for you because it's often hard to hear what the reporters are asking. And Jeremy, anytime you want to come on, you can just pop in.
Is a supervisor for our homicide cold case unit. that unit is responsible for investigating missing persons. And Sergeant Nielsen's going to go over with you now where the investigation stands at this point. Sergeant Nielsen.
As Don has already mentioned, we've been out here with our urban search and rescue people today. We've also utilized my cold case detectives on foot, traveling through the area. We've also used aviation as well as our police boat, which, as he mentioned, has sonar. In the past couple of days, we've also involved the Office of Emergency Management. They have a boat with sonar, and they also have a drone. We've had their drone operator come out here. And we've also been utilizing our downtown partnership people and just trying to make many contacts of some of the citizens walking through here, including people that live in nearby homeless camps, and have been re-canvassing for video and reaching out to some of the bars and businesses down here, which I'd like to point out that they've all been extremely cooperative with us. And I'm open to any questions you have.
The phone, when it went down, is there any tracing of the phone?
So the last thing we had on the phone information was all of the pings that they did were based on exigency, so we were able to get that. Apple has been very helpful with us. We're still waiting on some phone record information. We're still waiting on that data. However, the last ping that they had was off a cell tower near Top Golf, which is on the other side of the river. However, the radius is about 2 miles, so it doesn't give us a direction to travel or more detailed information. We just know that that's the tower that it hit off of.
It's interesting. The radius of a ping is 2 miles.
Yeah, I'd never heard that before. I always thought you could get an exact location on your phone when you lose it, and
Yeah. Well, I think that based on exigency, they were able to get that Apple data right away, but sometimes it takes longer to get the other, like the health data, the steps, the more like accurate location information, like from Snapchat and stuff. So that's, I mean, to say that he was found on the other side of the bridge by Topgolf, that's where it pinged. That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
We're still waiting on the phone records. We don't have the information quite back on the Apple Watch. I didn't know this. I'm not an Apple person, but apparently it has its own separate phone number. So that's one of the things that we're also waiting on is data from that as well. It doesn't tell us exactly why they went down. There could be a variable number of reasons of why both of those went down, from we don't know how long he had them charged to, turned them off. I mean, any number of things. But the data right now, the rest of it, his phone records and so forth, we're still waiting on. We know that the last ping off that tower was between 9:55 p.m. and 10 p.m. And I believe the last phone conversation or attempted conversation by one of his friends was also during that same time. That was the last time anybody had any kind of interaction with him on the phone.
We'll talk about our cameras, Bob, what we know from the cameras.
And he said, can you talk about what we know from the cameras?
Thank you. With the camera footage that we have right now, the last known footage we have of Mr. Strain was coming in this direction, which would be towards us in the northerly direction. It caught him between the James Robertson Bridge and Woodland Street Bridge traveling this way. He was on foot. There was nobody else around him that we can see. We do have some cameras on the back of our Birch building, which is our courthouse here. However, it doesn't catch him crossing the path of that, and they would have caught anybody on either side of the Gay Street connector. So at this point, we're kind of back canvassing, if you will, going back possible route he may have taken from Broadway up 3rd, down towards Church Street, down in this direction to look for any other cameras we may have missed, as well as look for any other potential employees at some of these businesses that we can talk to that may not have been here the past few days, but might have been here Friday night. So we're still going back and looking for more cameras and more witnesses.
The homicide unit, so there's really no way to tell whether the end of this story will be an accident or a criminal situation.
He says from the homicide unit, there's no way of knowing if this will be an accident or foul play, like that.
Right now, you can't tell that, right?
No, there's absolutely no indication whatsoever there's any kind of foul play or other crime involved. This is strictly a missing person investigation at this point. Obviously, those things can always change. We just don't know. But right now, all of our resources are dedicated towards finding him. We're not conducting a criminal investigation of any type. So we're utilizing all of our detectives and our other resources, as we mentioned, in just looking for him. Because like I said, there's no indication he was in a fight or argument with anybody on the street, as far as we know right now, or anybody in any establishment he may have visited. So we're just solely looking at this as a missing person case.
I mean, it seems like there's not a lot of cameras down by the river, you know?
No, but there are barriers. So
Yeah.
it's just a strange one. I really feel if he was drunk enough and hurt enough to pass out, he would have been found.
Yeah.
And someone would have found him at some point. But there's just no sign of him. There's no
Day
sign.
6.
Yeah.
Day 6.
There's nothing. But then the officer says there's absolutely no sign of foul play. I would say the fact that they haven't found anything is a sign of something mysterious.
Right. And that's why it's so important for anybody out there who has seen anything or has any information or has any dash cam footage to please turn it over or call Metro Nashville PD. They're asking for any and all tips. Riley Strain was 22 years old. He is 22 years old, 6'5". He's a slim build, 6'5" to 6'7". They keep changing his height, or there's conflicting reports on that. 615-862-8600 is the phone number from Metro Nashville PD. He was last seen last Friday night, March 8th of 2024 at 9:52 p.m. on Church and First Street in downtown Nashville. He is a student at the University of Missouri who was traveling with about 50 of his fraternity brothers on what they call a formal fraternity trip. Some people called it a conference, and they were in Nashville for the weekend. See if he can give us any more information on this. Somebody said he must have gotten into a car. Interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
I mean, they're asking, they asked the parents if they checked his Uber app. It doesn't look like he got into a rideshare, but it's day 6. Like everyone wants to know everything. I guess, it can't be solved in an hour, but it's day 6.
Is there a way to trace Ubers, Lyfts, those kinds of things, taxis?
So we don't believe, based on the information we have.
That's what the question was, in case you couldn't hear it. He said, is there a way to track Ubers and Lyfts and that sort of thing?
So far from financial institution that he utilized any kind of ride share. However, I know that I believe the family or someone has reached out asking if they may have caught him on video, because as we all know, a lot of your rideshare partners will have dash cams. And so people have reached out to them. Hey, if you see anything, can you send it to us, send it to the police department? But we have not seen any evidence that he would have used that. All the footage that we have so far, he was walking. So there's no indication that he got into a vehicle, whether a cab or a ride share. And then, of course, until we get his phone records back, we can't see if he utilized any one of those types of applications as well.
There was a body cam of an officer dealing with another situation that officer came across Riley at one point. Do you have an update on that?
He said that there's another officer who might have come across Riley at one point. Do you have any information on that?
No, there was no real interaction between the two because that officer was dealing with that other situation.
Pretty good.
Any other questions?
Would you mind just going back over what you did?
Oh, yeah. So I was just telling them that basically.
He said, can you just go over what you said? I guess he got there late.
We've been utilizing our urban search and rescue people as well as our police boat. They've gone up and down the bank. They've made multiple sweeps. Urban search and rescue has checked several areas, including any dilapidated buildings, as well as there's a storm drain that people will use sometimes. So they've been doing that, as well as we've had our cold case detectives actually walking the Greenway all the way up towards Jefferson Street, because there's a lot of residential new buildings up there that you can't get to by vehicle. You can get to the buildings, but you can't get behind them. So we're trying to utilize everybody on foot, on boat. We've utilized aviation. Office of Emergency Management has come out the past couple of days, couple of times, both with boat, with sonar, as well as with their drone. And then also, I don't know if many of you are familiar with the Cajun Navy, United Cajun Navy. There's a couple different organizations from Louisiana, but they also have members in other states, including Tennessee. They've also come up here to assist us with an airboat and some of their resources from private organizations to also assist in the search for Riley.
Is there anything unprecedented about what's going on, or is this just a natural course of things that you do this investigation?
It's just a natural progression. With a missing persons case, people go missing for various reasons. Some are voluntary, some are not. Some could be due to a medical incident. Right now, we have no idea what happened with this gentleman. We don't believe that there's any crime involved, however. So all of our resources right now are dedicated towards locating him. And then once we find him, to try to see if there's any kind of, medical attention, something that he may need. And obviously we're looking for a positive outcome. And so, but we're open to all the information that we get. We're still utilizing our Crime Stoppers. A lot of people think that that's just for crimes, homicides, robberies, so forth. But we've also utilized that for people calling in. And I've been getting Crime Stoppers tips every single day regarding possible sightings or any information that people think that they have. I mean, you name it, people call us, we're checking it out. We've also provided our information so they can contact us, either me directly by email, my lead detective, or our public information office, our social media, Facebook, Instagram, all that. So we're utilizing absolutely every resource we can possibly think of at this point. There's no reason to believe that he's been a victim of a crime, and I can't possibly think of any other resource we could utilize that we haven't used or are using right now.
Have they been notified to look as well? I mean, is there...
Yeah, he's been entered into NCIC, which is very common. So when we do a missing person report, when that's entered into NCIC, and as we boloed that information, we push it out to some of our partner, like, Sumner County, Cheatham County, THP and so forth, they usually get that information. Our fusion centers tend to push a lot of that information out as well. So that information has pretty much been disseminated. Yes, ma'am.
She said, according to his parents, the last place he was seen on camera. Can you talk about that?
That's true. So actually back in this direction, this first bridge is James Robertson Parkway. The next bridge is Woodland Street. He was last seen between those two bridges traveling in this direction. And that's the last footage that we have. I think that was around 9:52, 9:53, somewhere in that range. There's actually a large homeless encampment that's down the riverbank. And we actually made contact with some of those people today. Our urban search and rescue people talked to them. They even let us search that area, because that's treated like a domicile where some of them are. So they've been very helpful as well. And so we're just utilizing everybody we can talk to in this area, but that's the last known area. So what they told you is accurate. They just didn't know that the homeless encampment was down there. So.
Yeah, so at that point, we don't know if it went down or got, or we don't know anything. I think it was off.
Correct. And as I mentioned to them, there are cameras on the back of the Birch building, but they would have caught anybody on either side of the street, but there's nothing to indicate he came this way. So we also utilize the camera. There's a pole camera right there as well, and it doesn't show him in this direction. So in the event that he could have possibly have doubled back and the other camera that we last saw him on didn't catch him, both, actually all detectives that we have out on this, as well as the security people that watch the parking garage and the families themselves. I mean, we've had 3 different groups literally go through that parking garage for the past 2 days, just in case they've missed an open door, the safety netting in case somebody somehow went over the side. They've checked everything that they can over there, and security was checking again for us today, just because there's always that possibility the camera didn't catch him going back across, and maybe he went back up to James Robertson through that parking garage, as well as the stairs on the outside of the parking garage. Not that we've seen on video. I know some people that have called in have thought there was, but we haven't seen any evidence of that. I was told today that there was a homeless gentleman that may have actually seen him, like close proximity, like from me to you. So we're actually trying to find that individual right now to see if he can provide us more information, but we haven't been able to find him so far. Yes, ma'am.
Reiterated, especially today, how communicative y'all have been, and they're very pleased from that standpoint. Is it hard when you have a lot of family members in the area trying to help you? How do you work in tandem with family members in the search?
He said, is it hard for you to work in tandem with the family members when there's so many family members here trying to help? And how do you logistically do that?
It's just like when we have a homicide, we try to have one point of contact, whether it's one parent, 2 parents, an aunt, whoever is kind of the spokesperson for the family, just because the nature of the investigation can be so cumbersome that it's hard for us to answer multiple questions. Like if there's 15 of you out here right now, realistically, we may not have the time to talk to actual 15 individual people, right? That's why we have public information officers, or like here, we're doing a quick briefing on it. So usually what we'll do, and as I've spoken to mom and dad today, was everything will go through them. So they have multiple ways to contact me. Any questions they have, even from other family, I've asked them to direct it to mom and dad, let mom and dad contact us, because otherwise it gets to be the telephone game, and then misinformation gets out there. And in this case, it's a missing person. But if it was a homicide, then we risk the chance of affecting the integrity of that case. And obviously, we don't want to put everything out in a homicide. In this case, we're putting everything out because it's a missing person. But it still helps to have just one point of contact, just because everybody wants to know, but they also have to understand that for us to do our job effectively, we're utilizing literally everybody that we have that we can at the moment. And so if I have like 5 detectives here today, and they're all handling phone calls, well, then I don't have any detectives out here looking for this gentleman. So that's why it's easier just to have 1 or 2 points of contact. And 9 times out of 10, the families are extremely understanding, extremely cooperative, and they totally understand where we're coming from. And we've always had a good exchange with that.
Okay, and that was from earlier today. That was the press conference. That was a sergeant in the cold case department of Metro Nashville PD. His name is Robert Nielsen, and he gave an update. I mean, it looks like they've got all the resources out there. They've got the Cajun Navy helping them. They've got the Office of Emergency Management has done a ground search. The detectives have done a ground search. They have boats. They have sonar equipment, drones, helicopters. They've been searching the riverbank and the river.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, there was a lot of chat about the Uber situation, and there are people out there that say they are Ubers and they aren't. And you know, I'm not saying that that's what happened here, but you know, it's certainly something to be aware of, especially, you know, if you have kids. You know, we're in the middle of spring break, Melanie,
Right.
and you know, everybody should really just reach out to their kids and look, you want them to have a good time. I had a great time on spring break. But you want them to be smart, and this is a different world than when I was on spring break. But, you know, maybe explain to them some of these dangers and some of the things that people do so that they could at least be aware, you know, going in and into these situations where they're trying to have fun and drinking. And, you know, I do want to point out too, Riley was of age. He, you know,
Right.
he was able to drink. He wasn't drinking illegally or anything like that. He's 22 years old. But, you know, make sure you teach the kids the lessons they need so that they can go and have a good time and not have tragic results.
Right. And that's what makes it so heartbreaking as a parent. I know you're a parent too. It's heartbreaking because even when your kid is 22, they're still your baby. And this is heartbreaking. I mean, we saw what the mother said. And somebody says here, Maria Vargas, I can't understand why no one stopped after seeing him in a condition that clearly looks like intoxication. Scott, one of my amazing moderators who is retired law enforcement, NYPD, says, my biggest problem is that when he was running and hit his head, my first 2.5 years, I worked 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. So that was overnights and dealt with intoxicated people all the time. They don't run unless they're scared. So that's an interesting take from retired law enforcement. It's scary to see him running like that. Like, why did he all of a sudden start running?
I don't know. A lot of unanswered questions, a lot of unknowns. The fact that I haven't found one trace of evidence of him is very surprising. So
they're still calling it, or they're still hoping to find him alive. Here's somebody asked if we had any news reports of the homeless people actually seeing him, and this is from WSMV Channel 4 in Nashville. Family friend claims missing Mizzou student spotted by 2 homeless camps during interview on national TV. As I was talking to family members currently in downtown Nashville searching, and we have found another homeless person that had acknowledged that Riley had been in the area. This is an article that was just published today. It was updated this morning. And apparently he did talk about this on Banfield, I think last night with Ashley Banfield. So it seems Dingman, who is the family friend who we saw earlier wearing the navy blue t-shirt, says, I was talking to family members currently in downtown Nashville searching, and we have found another homeless person that had acknowledged that Riley had been in the area. Dingman said, this now makes 2 people that has done confirmation. These are areas that the camera had stops. We don't have any footage. Basically, the areas where his phone quit pinging. We do now have visual confirmation from 2 homeless camps that Riley was in the area. Still, there have been no reported sightings of the Mizzou student since the night of his disappearance. And this is a very, very sad, very tragic story. And we need you guys to get the word out and get Riley's picture out so that hopefully someone will have some information that can be used to find him. I'm going to put his picture up again before we get close to wrapping. So Jeremy, if you have any final closing thoughts on this, I mean, I think, we got to teach our kids never to leave their drink unattended. Always have the buddy system. Don't ever leave an obviously intoxicated friend alone. I mean, there's a lot of lessons to be learned from this, but in the meantime, let's try and get his picture out there.
Yeah, I think, not only is it teaching your kids and all that, but, these, as we know, as members of the media, these things tend to, the story is hot for a few days and then it just disappears. Those parents obviously do not want this story to go to the wayside. And, until we know what's happened to this young man, we should be talking about him. And that's sometimes forgotten by the media. And hopefully we can, revisit this down the line and keep, his name out there so that people keep looking.
Yeah, because somebody has to have seen something, I think. And hopefully whoever has seen something will call this number that we have on the bottom of the screen, 615-862-8600. Please check all your dash cam footage if you were in the area anytime since last Friday, March 8th at around 9:40 p.m. Because who knows? Remember what happened with Gabby Petito? And there were some other van lifers who had some footage, and it helped in the search for Gabby Petito. So we are hoping that this story has a happy ending. We are putting prayers up for the Strain family and friends and everyone who's out there missing Riley right now. And let's find Riley. Thanks, Red Tail. Let's find Riley. I'm surprised there's not a lot of people watching the stream tonight, but I guess, there's other stories out there right now that are keeping everyone's attention. But this is really something that needs to get out there, you guys. And I know that you guys are the guys to do it. Peter Pranzo, another amazing moderator who's also retired NYPD, homicide, never drink or mix drugs as well, beyond your limits. Mama Griffin, there are so many tourists here and they're worried about themselves. When he turned around, he looked absolutely lost. This feels bad. And Goidel, there's too many children who are disappearing in Tennessee. Is this kid autistic? I've read that's a common thing with these missing children. I haven't heard anything about that. They did say Tempo Hotel. Did you happen to see how far that was, Jeremy, from where he was last seen, the Tempo Hotel?
I did not
get any details on that. Let's see. You're very welcome, Colleen. I know that you're local Nashville area. Maddie Ashmore, dear God, send your angels to protect and bring him back home to his loving family. Yes. Always, always, always about the victim here. So, and their family. So we need you guys to help find Riley Strain. 22 years old, went missing last Friday night, March 8th, around 9:40 p.m. His phone went dead around 10 p.m. He is 6'5" to 6'7" and very slim, 160 to 165 pounds. 22 years old, was visiting Nashville with his fraternity brothers from the University of Missouri. Ms. Fansel says, thanks for getting the word out. My son is of similar age, and this has been heartbreaking to follow. The videos were heartbreaking. Miss Fancy J, opposite direction from where he was headed by a few blocks. Okay, so that's where the hotel was, opposite direction. So, I mean, listen, he's in a city. He doesn't know where he is. Like, I could
12-minute
see.
walk. 12-minute walk, Melanie.
Yeah,
5 minute,
but couldn't you see,
5-minute
like, if
car ride.
you've been drinking all day, like, you're not going to
Yeah.
remember how to get back to your hotel.
Yep.
This is scary, and we need to, you guys share this out there. Hit the bell, hit the subscribe button, do all the nice YouTube things, hit the thumbs up so the YouTube algorithm will push this show out. Any final thoughts, Jeremy, before we wrap, since I promised you that I would only take an hour and 15 minutes of your time tonight?
No, thank you. I appreciate coming on, and I appreciate all the comments that have come in. And, let's find this young man, and Melanie, let's do this again sometime.
Let's do this again. Maybe next time we'll do something lighter, like we'll do a whole show about the Beatles, and I'll let you talk the whole entire time. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you to all of my amazing moderators. You keep the chat classy for not letting this get out of control with playing the blame game tonight, because that's not what we want to do. We want to find Riley. And thank you to all of my channel members who like me enough to want to be a member of my channel and hang out with me on all of these nights when we get to just hang out like a bunch of friends together. To all the viewers, the replay viewers, I thank you so much, and I appreciate you so much, because without you, I wouldn't have anybody to talk to, and I certainly wouldn't have a channel. So remember, my friends, be cool, be kind, be classy. It is not hard, really. It is so not hard. I'm going to see you guys real soon, because there's some stuff breaking on the Karen Reed case, so I won't be long. I'll see everybody soon. Have a great night. Peace.